Have you ever wondered what other guitars are in my Guitarsenal? Besides steel string flat tops and banjos, there are Resonators. In fact, there are a ton of Resonators, and that's exactly what we're going to delve into today.
Do you play all, do you actually play all these, or?
Well, I play them and I cherish them. Mm-hmm. This is the top of the heap right here. There's no question about it. Look at the flame on that one.
Yes.
Look, it's quite unbelievable. This one.
Yes, indeed. Today is part 2 of my Guitarsenal, where we focus on the Resonator guitars and the uncategorizables. Yes, I think you'll see what I'm talking about when you actually see and hear these instruments. And good news, you're not only going to see these instruments, you're not only going to hear these instruments, you're actually going to get the story behind each and how they came to be a part of my collection. But before we take a sneak peek into the Resonator guitars, before we start popping open cases, I have a very important announcement. Acoustic Tuesday is turning 3 years old. Yes, indeed, we are gearing up for our 3rd anniversary of the Acoustic Tuesday show, and I need your help because our 3rd anniversary show will be an Ask Me Anything episode, where you can ask me, well, anything you want. To submit your questions, all you have to do is go to asktonyp.com, asktonyp.com, and ask your question via video form. It takes 30 seconds or less, and your questions will fuel that 3rd anniversary show. So please submit your questions by Friday, August 7th. And a couple of other words on that anniversary show. I'll actually be taking a little bit of a retrospective, a walk through history, if you will, of the Acoustic Tuesday show, and I'll be doing so in a very compromising position. I'll be doing so under duress. You'll see what I'm talking about when the show airs, but bottom line, go to asktonyp.com to ask me your questions. Okay, thanks for letting me make that announcement. Now let's go ahead and dig into the Resonator guitars. Here is part 1 of my Resonator Guitarsenal. This guitar here is a National Resonator, but it has an interesting story because it was kind of built by, well, 2 people. Built by National, but finished by B Fanatic Guitar Works. So let me explain. This is a Supro Collegian that was built to the specifications of a guitar from, I want to say, the 30s or 40s. I'm not entirely sure of the whole backstory because I got this guitar actually used. The guitar was made in October 2016, and what immediately drew me to it was the sound. It has this airy reverberation that I could not get enough of, and it's a great guitar for slide, it's a great guitar for fingerpicking, and it reacts extremely well in alternate tunings. The finish is another notable piece of this guitar. It is a Duco finish, and it's done in a way in which the paint has this almost crystal-like structure within it. Not scientific terms here, just describing what I see. And no 2 finishes done in the Duco style are alike, so this guitar certainly is a one-of-a-kind, and I think it sounds incredible. What I'm holding right here is a Beard Vintage R square neck. This is a guitar that really kind of sits right in the middle between that old vintage square neck sound and the modern square neck sound. And I attribute that to its shallower body depth and its birch plywood construction. More importantly, and more personally, I should say, this is a guitar that was my first professional level Resonator guitar. I got this right when I moved to Montana in 2008, and it's been with me ever since, and it has the battle scars to prove it. It certainly shows its wear and tear and its age, but it's the type of guitar that I look at, and it really means so much to me. It's been with me on a ton of very significant gigs, some fantastic recording sessions, and it's the type of guitar that you look at in your collection and you think, I'm just never gonna sell it. It means too much. This guitar here is a Beard bell beard. And let me explain. I purchased this guitar back in 2018. It appeared on their website, and I immediately called, and I thought, I've been looking for this exact guitar for what felt like an entire lifetime. As soon as it came up for sale, I called Denny at Beard Guitars and I said, Denny, let's make that mine. And this guitar is unique in that it actually has 2 resonator cones in it. So inside there is the main cone that produces the sound, and then a sympathetic resonator cone that's smaller in size, it's about 10 inches, and it kind of adds this extra shimmer to the top end, which is so cool and a great match for the all-solid mahogany body. Not to mention, this is really visually striking as well. It has this nice dark red burst, blacked out hardware, and this beautiful Celtic knot pattern in the cover plate. All in all, it's a great guitar, and it's one of the guitars that I purchased kind of based on looks, but then as I played it more and more, I realized this fits a very specific niche in my Guitarsenal. This guitar here is 100% Charlie Parr's fault. And I lovingly blame him for this guitar because my interest in mule guitars was basically due to Charlie Parr. He has come through town on numerous occasions. We've hung out and I've had a chance to play a couple of different mule models that he has in his personal collection, and I absolutely fell in love with them. Then Matt Ike from Mule Guitars reached out to me and he said, hey, I'd love for you to review this new tricone that I've made. And I said, okay. No hesitation here. I'll certainly review it. So this guitar, this very guitar, came in for review, and upon opening the box, getting the guitar out of the case, and playing it for a mere 15 minutes, I fired off an email to Matt and I said, Matt, I would love to not send this guitar back to you. Whatever we have to do to make this guitar stay in Montana with me, let's go ahead and do that. So I purchased the guitar from Matt, and I'm so happy that I did. Because it's a tricone, which is a little weird to say because it looks like just a single cone because it's just a single cover plate. It doesn't have that traditional tricone aesthetic. But there are 3 small cones underneath the hood of this bad boy, and it leads to this beautiful sustain. And what I've noticed with this guitar, one of the things I really like about it is I can capo way up on the neck and play fingerstyle, and it has this beautiful blossom to it. Just a wonderful accompaniment for singing, and then of course, when you open tune this thing and play slide on it, it just absolutely barks. It's a beautiful guitar, and I'm so happy to support Matt and the folks at Mule Guitars. I think they're making some absolutely incredible instruments. It is indeed the new sound of steel. So of those guitars, which is your favorite so far? Go ahead and let me know in the comments below, but don't fear, those are not the only guitars that are in my Resonator portion of my Guitarsenal. There are more to come. In fact, this week on Acoustic Tuesday, we've already begun checking out those Resonator guitars, and we will continue to do so. You're also gonna learn about a Resonator guitar company in Austin, Texas that is making awesome Resonator sound extremely affordable. And last but certainly not least, we'll take a look at an artist that, well, his go-to instrument is indeed the Resonator guitar.
See, still got the old tagger on it. See, never even played it. See?
You just bought it?
Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
I wasn't going to touch it.
No, don't touch it.
I was just pointing at it.
Well, don't point even.
Don't even point?
No, it can't be played. Never. I mean,
Can I look at it?
No, you've seen it.
Welcome to Acoustic Tuesday, episode number 154. This is the show where we're going to learn about acoustic guitar gear, discover acoustic artists, and get inspired to live your very best acoustic life. As with all episodes of Acoustic Tuesday, I'm going to share with you my Guitar Geek list for the week. And yes, indeed, this week, it's all about the sweet, sweet sound of Resonators. and some other things. You'll see what I'm talking about. But first, I have to ask you a Guitar Geek trivia question. Yes, indeed. And the subject of this week's Guitar Geek trivia question is, of course, Resophonic guitars. More importantly, an oddball of the Resophonic family, the Resophonic mandolin. That actually ties in with something coming up later as well. A lot of connections today, a lot of connections. Here's your question. Who is responsible for making the first Resophonic mandolin? Was it A, Orville Gibson? Was it B, Herman Weissenborn? Was it C, Oscar Schmidt? Or was it D, John Dopiera? Go ahead and ponder that question, and at the end of the show, I'll be sure to give you the answer. All right, so now that we have the Guitar Geek trivia question out of the way, I've got you warmed up with some Resonators. We're gonna actually dig back into my Resonator collection, and you're gonna see some more Resonators, but also some uncategorizable instruments. You'll see what I'm talking about. This is the Beard Guitars Josh Swift model. Beard Guitars released this model initially in mid-2018, I believe, and it first came out with a purple finish. I loved everything about the guitar, but I just couldn't bring myself to stomach the purple finish. Personal taste, I know. Then they released the blackout version, and I thought to myself, that's it, that's magic, that's my next guitar. I called Denny at Beard Guitars. This guitar showed up, and I'm so happy that it did. This guitar is easily the loudest square neck resonator guitar in my entire collection. It's crispy, it has this beautiful projection, and it's all solid maple, which was a huge hole in the resonator lineup that I have. It didn't have a maple guitar. This one fits the bill, and holy smokes, does it scream. Welcome to the uncategorizable section. This guitar is very much uncategorizable. This is a Larry Pogreba Weissenborn. It's a hollow-necked lap-style slide guitar. Now, if Larry Pogreba is not a household name to you, he probably should be. He lives in Three Forks, Montana, totally off the grid, and he makes really interesting instruments. Now, the fit and finish aren't anything of, gallery quality, but it's all about function. His guitars sound incredible. He's built guitars for Bonnie Raitt, Kebmo, Daryl Scott, Jerry Douglas, amongst many, many others. And they always have these very kind of signature sounds. They don't really sound like anything else, and that's what drew me to this guitar, nor do they look like anything else for that matter. This guitar has vintage coin fret markers, and it's made out of all solid mahogany. A beautiful sounding Weissenborn, and one that I'm very proud to own, and I think it sounds fantastic. I've used it on a couple of different recordings, and it always has this wonderful kind of clarity and almost aggressive bark that you want, especially when you're playing blues slide guitar. This guitar here that's making me look much bigger than I am is the Emerald Amicus, and it's come to be known as the mandolin for guitar players. It is essentially a short scale 12-string. So imagine a 12-string guitar capoed at the 5th fret with the rest of the neck chopped off, and of course a smaller body. This guitar is 100% carbon fiber, and it has these wonderful, almost luminous dulcet tones that are great for adding texture. It functions really well with alternate tunings because you get a different perspective on the tunings that you know and love, but you have this wonderful kind of vibe of a 12 string and the kind of precision of a smaller body, plus the interesting character that carbon fiber gives it. It truly is an uncategorizable instrument, but one that has served me very well in terms of recording sessions or just overall creativity. When I want to kind of break my brain of the standard ruts, this is a guitar that I reach for because it certainly flips things, well, on their head. So there you have it. That is my Resonator guitar collection, and I want to know in the comments below, what is the one instrument that stood out to you? It could be because of the way it looked, it could be because of the way it sounded, it could be a combination of the two. Go ahead and let me know in the comments below, and if you have a Resonator guitar in your collection, speak up. Let me know what you've got also in the comments below. And one more thing, I'm going to direct you to asktonyp.com because yes, indeed, Acoustic Tuesday is celebrating 3 years. I cannot believe the Acoustic Tuesday show is going to be 3 years old, and I want you to submit a question at asktonyp.com because our 3rd anniversary show will be an Ask Me Anything show where you can ask me anything. And I will answer those questions, well, in an uncomfortable situation, as I mentioned before, but you'll have to tune in to figure out what that is. Now, what I need you to do is fuel that episode with your questions. So again, go to asktonyp.com. And don't forget to do that by Friday, August 7th. All right, keeping this Resonator flame lit, if you will, let's add some kindling to the Resonator guitar fire and check out a Resonator guitar company in Austin, Texas. This is a company that is making Resonator guitars, good Resonator guitars with good Resonator tone, available at a really, really healthy price. And when I say healthy price, I don't mean expensive. I mean, this is you can't believe the sound you get for the amount of money that these instruments cost. The company is Republic Guitars. They are based in Austin, Texas, and according to my notes here, it's currently run by Frank Helsley Jr., and it was started by his father. Now, the magic of Republic Guitars, again, is offering incredible Resonator tone at truly an incredible price. With Resonator guitars, so often you see extremely expensive, amazing sounding Resonator guitars on this end of the spectrum. And then on this end of the spectrum, the entry level or cheaper end of the spectrum, the Resonator guitars can sound clunky, buzzy, funky, and sometimes they're just not set up very well. And that, I think, ultimately deters more people from the Resonator guitar than brings them into the family. Well, Republic Guitars is here to change that because while their instruments are crafted overseas, they come to the shop in Austin, Texas for final inspection, final setup, and ultimately quality control. Every single instrument that Republic Guitars ships out goes through their quality control, and I've played quite a few, and I am very impressed. From the price point to actually the sound you get, wow, these things are amazing. That being said, let's go ahead and hear some. Here is a metal-bodied Highway 61 model from the folks at Republic Guitars, and it is played by David Hamburger of Acoustic Guitar Magazine. Now, the Highway 61 model is actually unique to Republic Guitars, and to the best of my knowledge, they actually have a patent on that model, a small-bodied Resonator guitar with a biscuit bridge and a cutaway. An incredibly comfortable guitar that for such a small instrument offers huge tone. Now you might be wondering, well, okay, so far I've only seen metal-bodied instruments. Do they only make metal-bodied resonators? No. They make wooden-body resonators as well. In fact, YouTuber Bottleneck John gives a great demo of the Highway 61 wood body, and here it is. All right, to learn more about Republic Resonator guitars, make sure to visit acousticlife.tv/AT154, where you can learn more about the company itself and see what they have in stock. I may or may not have been on their website quite a few times in the past week, and it also ties into next week's show, but you'll learn about that later. I can assure you, you are in for quite the Resonator roller coaster ride. Speaking of roller coaster rides, let's go ahead and hop in, well, a ride of sorts, our time machine, and go back to episode 152, where we talked about the women of acoustic music, the women who are making their mark on acoustic music. And I want to go through a couple of comments. There was some great chatter on that episode. Some great artists were mentioned as well. So if you haven't seen that episode yet, please check it out, especially if you're looking for new artists to listen to. There is a whole gaggle of them on that particular episode. But our first comment from that episode comes from The Bellow and the Whale. And they say this: "Yay, you win." At the beginning of the episode, I made a wager. You'll have to tune in to see what that wager was. But apparently I won it. "Thanks for making a video featuring all of these awesome women. I know that some women don't like awesome female musician lists because they'd rather just be included in the awesome musician list in the first place. But personally, I think there is a need for content like this. Representation matters. It can be really disheartening not to see anyone who looks like you in a field that you really care about. It can make you question if you're welcome in that space. And I'm not just referring to gender here. At first glance, the guitar world can look really homogenous, but if you do just a little digging, you can unearth a plethora of diverse musicians like this who will expand your horizons and reveal new ways to look at your craft. Anyway, I really appreciate anyone who uses their platform to lift up talented women. Thank you, Julia." Well, Julia, thank you for watching, and thank you for so eloquently stating one of the things that I actually had a hard time with when I was designing that episode, because I just simply wanted to make an awesome musicians list, but I did want to share the spotlight with some of these incredible women musicians because, wow, it's just, there's so many great musicians. As you mentioned in your comment, it's such a diverse field. We really do need to share the spotlight all around in all the different corners and check out all the different musicians who are offering things in each of their own genres and kind of offering up their special personal touch to music, which is, well, I guess something personal for us all. So thank you again, Julia, for your comment. The next comment comes from Maggie Pope, who you may remember from very early on in Acoustic Tuesday history. I featured her and her band Under the Oak. If you haven't checked them out, please do so. Maggie says this: "Great episode. So appreciate hearing new artists. I love Kaya Cater and all the others. So much banjo." Indeed, so much banjo. Banjo is, I have a soft spot for banjo, so I had to include quite a few artists who played the banjo on my list. Next up, our next comment comes from Keys Toft, and they say this: "Way!" I'm not sure what that means, but I hope I pronounced it correctly. Way! It's just fun to say. "Congratulations on the news of a little one around the corner, Tony. I remember on the night of my first child's birth, following the ambulance, which my partner Georgina was being transferred to the maternity ward in, my hands were shaking and in a haze of trepidation. Then, as I parked the car, a song came on the radio which stopped me dead, and as I listened to it, helped me let out a whole mess of built-up stress and emotion I'd gathered leading up to this huge event. It was Holocene by Bon Iver. And surprise, surprise, the opening notes of an acoustic guitar had got hold of me. This is why we hold our acoustic instruments in such reverence. 14 hours later, long night, our son Arlen finally decided to make a showing. Another great episode, by the way. Well, thank you so much for that story and kind of tying in music to such an important moment in your life and a forthcoming, moment in my life as well. It's crazy to believe that nearly 9 months had passed and there's going to be a little Tony running around pretty soon. Another little Tony to add to the brood. His bigger brother will be 13. Yeah, I'll have a 13-year-old and little I guess I can reveal the name now since we're talking about babies. The new little Tony won't be named Little Tony. His name will be Emerson Towns Policastro, and I'm so excited to welcome him to the world, as is my wife. She is probably much more excited than I because she is in the stage of uncomfortableness when it comes to the late stages of pregnancy. Anyways, I'll be sure to let you all know when he makes his arrival, and if I can snap a picture, if my hands aren't shaking too bad, I will do so and share that with you. And our final comment comes from username iAdora. Hopefully I said that right. And she said, or he said, I love this. Makes me excited to be someone who plays guitar. And I thought that was just a great way to wrap up the comments section, because when you see a list of inspiring artists, it makes you realize that you're a part of this tight-knit acoustic family, and we're all here to lift one another up, and it sounds like that list did that very thing, so I'm excited to hear that feedback. Thank you for leaving that comment, and thanks to everyone who left comments on that episode. As I mentioned before, there was just a great list of artists that was gathered, and a huge response for Rhiannon Giddens. Lots of huge fans, old-time fans saying, I love Rhiannon, so good to see her on the Acoustic Tuesday show, and a lot of people that had never heard her are now fans. So I'm really excited that she is a part of the Acoustic Tuesday family, and maybe we can dedicate an entire episode to her. She's quite the profound musician. Excuse me, she's quite the profound musician. All right, before we get back into, I want to feature this artist that I think your mind's going to totally explode. He actually helped me discover some things. But I got a couple of cool updates. We got some mailbag arrivals here. This first one was a nice CD from the wonderful Nobodies, and it was signed Compliments of Dr. Dave. Now, you'd think I'd read this and say, of course I knew this was from Dr. Dave, but actually I opened the package and I saw this card, and whenever I see this card of an eagle, I know that Dr. Dave sent me a mailbag item, and he did indeed, and he says this, Hey Tony, I suppose you already know who sent this eagle card, an Eagle Rare celebration. Today I'm celebrating my friend Seth Taylor, who's in the wonderful Nobodies. Actually, his birthday was last week, July 10th, the day I ordered this album. Seth has introduced me to so much good music, including this brand new release by a new Nashville trio, the wonderful Nobodies. He teams up with Lacey Green and his former roommate, Aaron Williams. Check the writing credits. They wrote or co-wrote almost all the songs. So cool, and actually, Whitney and I listened to that over dinner the other night, and it is a delightful album. In fact, I could very well see them being a feature of the Acoustic Tuesday show coming up. Again, that's the wonderful Nobodies. What I love about the album is it's very diverse in its offering, in that there's not a single lead person. They all are extremely strong musicians and can carry a song, and the others can accompany, and vice versa. So it's a great example of how awesome the musicians are that surround us. Another mailbag arrival. Remember I asked you about the resophonic mandolin question? Remember that question, your Guitar Geek trivia question? Well, check this out. I was on reverb.com. I was telling Whitney I needed a mandolin. She said, why? And I said, I can't really explain it right now. I just need it because I really enjoy a mandolin. Well, I got one. Check this out. And it's small enough for me to actually just pop up here. It is, I got a used Collings MF5 off of Reverb. I was really scared because this was a private seller, and I don't normally make huge purchases from private sellers unless I know them, but I was treated fantastically, great communication from the seller, and check out the back on this thing. It's a one-piece flame maple back. It's gorgeous. It sounds beautiful. I didn't have it in time when we filmed the Guitarsenal section with the oddball instruments, but this would certainly have been in there, and I have been absolutely loving it. And Whitney now knows why I have the mandolin, because I've been playing it nonstop. In fact, this last weekend, we talked a couple of times, but I played a lot of mandolin as well. Also went to the driving range. I'm trying to pick up golf. Judging by my performance at the driving range, it's going to be a long road. It's going to be a long road. I was trying to look at where I was aiming the ball, and it was just zinging everywhere, except for where I wanted it to go. I even tried to hit the little ball picker-upper cart. That was just, why even try? I couldn't even get the ball to go where I wanted it to go. Anyways, that's for Tony's golf show. That'll air much later, probably in 2035 or something like that. Anyways, let's move right along to another Acoustic Tuesday viewer submitted piece here. This is a Guitarsenal, maybe one of our first Guitarsenal repeats, but this repeat. So this individual submitted a Guitarsenal some time ago, but since then his Guitarsenal has grown, and I think we all can understand that. And he has submitted a picture to make sure we had the most up-to-date information. This is Tim K from Kitchener, Ontario. Yes, up in Canada, our great neighbors to the north. And Tim says this. Hi, Tony. Well, I said I'd send you an updated Guitarsenal pick, and I finally got around to it on my week off. Back row, left to right. A Lazy River Weissenborn, mahogany top with cherry back and sides, a Guild D120 CE. In the front row on the floor, left to right, we have a Boucher OM, with a torrefied Adirondack top, Babinga back and sides, a Taylor 360 12-string, mahogany top, Tasmanian Blackwood back and sides, a Furk GCCR Grand Auditorium cutaway, cedar top, East Indian Rosewood back and sides, a Martin D21 Special, Sitka top, East Indian Rosewood back and sides, and I'm holding a 1935 Gibson-made Cromwell 00. It may look like it's been through the war, and probably has, but it has all that dry, boxy tone you would expect and records really well. I've nicknamed it Patsy after my late mom since it was made the same year she was born. Thanks, Tony. P.S. Happy Canada Day from your flannel-wearing, maple syrup-swinging neighbors to the north. Keep your stick on the ice. What a great message to get from my buddy Tim K. Tim has been to the Acoustic Life Festival. Tim has a fantastic voice, just a deep, full-bodied voice, and it's been great to see him post a lot of performances on Instagram as of late. In fact, during this quarantine, Tim has started recording a bunch of performances, and he's been posting, I want to say maybe one or more a week, and it's been a delight to hear him sing and play. Pretty awesome. So thanks, Tim, for the picture and for the awesome performances, and of course for the little Canadian reference in there. I appreciate that. And according to the way things are going, hopefully, and now we're recording this before the NHL hockey playoffs restart again, or start for the first time in an odd format. Hopefully things continue to go that way and we get to actually see some hockey coming up. I'm certainly excited. Do I think the Hawks are going to beat the Oilers? I don't know. I say I don't know because probably not. But you know what? I'm a Hawk fan. And yeah, they are going to beat the Oilers. I'm going to just reverse my statement. I would put money on it. In fact, I might. I still have to think about it. Anyways, let's move right along to guitar-related things and check out a guitar gratitude from the home of, well, Republic Guitars. Yes, this guitar gratitude comes from Austin, Texas. It's from Tony's Acoustic Challenge member Albert D, and it's short, it's sweet, it's just perfect. Here it is.
This is Albert D from Austin, and I'm grateful for all those times with the guitar, sitting around the campfire, being touched by music and touching others with music.
All right, thanks so much, Albert, for sending that in. And again, short and sweet, to the point, I love it. And one more thing before we check out the artist feature for today. Again, Acoustic Tuesday is celebrating its 3rd anniversary in in 2 episodes. Episode 156 will be the 3rd anniversary of Acoustic Tuesday, and that's going to be an Ask Me Anything episode. So please go to asktonyp.com where you can submit a question in video form. Play a part in the 3rd anniversary of the Acoustic Tuesday show, and hot sauce might be involved. I'll just say that. Hot sauce may very well be involved in the 3rd anniversary of the Acoustic Tuesday show. Make sure to get your questions in by Friday, August 7th. That'll be right about when we record the show, and I want to make sure that if you want a question answered, you get it in by Friday, August 7th. All right, let's move right along to our artist feature of the day. And today we're going to feature an artist who I owe some great discovery to. I discovered this artist when I was in the Old Town School of Folk Music, so right around 2005, 2006, somewhere in there. And the artist is Billy Cardine. Billy Cardine is a fantastic resophonic guitarist. Think slide player, think Jerry Douglas, but very different. I just wanted to provide some sort of reference. Billy Cardine is in a category in and of his own. He is in more bands than you can count on one hand, maybe even 2 hands. He is a prolific player, a solid technician, and just an overall really nice guy. In fact, he put on a workshop at the Old Town School of Folk Music, and he said something that made my entire guitar geek brain light up. He said that when he was first learning dobro, he would write out the strings in a notebook and try to identify patterns by just writing it out. It kind of taking the instrument out of it, but visualizing. And it's that very exercise that led me to discover a ton of patterns, not only on the dobro or the Resophonic guitar, but so many different instruments. And I owe that to Billy, so I should just say thanks. Thanks for that workshop. You probably don't remember me. You might not even remember the workshop, and that's fine. It was a long time ago, but it had a huge impact on me, so I guess that's a little guitar gratitude that I should share. But anyways, let's go ahead and go through my musical journey that kind of led me to the discovery of Billy Cardine and his amazing chops as a slide guitar player. Let's first visit the Biscuit Burners, a band that he was a part of, again, back in that 2005, 2006, 2007 range. They are now on hiatus, but they have incredible music for us to listen to. And here's their song, Ridgeway Backroads. So it's no doubt that Billy has the Americana bluegrass folk scene covered, right? But he is so multi-dimensional. Not only does he do that, he does electronic music with a lap steel, a Moog lap steel, way cool by the way. He's in a band called Billy C. He's in a band called Acoustic Syndicate. He's in all these other kind of combinations, and they explore all these different genres of music, world music being one of them. But Billy's roots in world music go way back. He actually, if I'm remembering correctly, and he brought this up in that workshop I attended, he studied with Debashish Bhattacharya, who is a master of the Indian slide guitar. And he spent a fair amount of time with Debashish, and it shows in his playing. In fact, I found this clip of him and Debashish playing at the Station Inn during the Rezo gathering a couple years back, and the clip made me smile because you can see the synergy between the two. Let's have a listen. The lines where they play in unison, it just gets me all verklempt. I hear that and it makes my brain want to explode. It really does. So cool to see that, and I've had the chance to, of course, I've seen Billy live actually play with the Biscuit Burners at the Old Town School, but also I had the chance to see Debashish play live because he was here 2 or 3 years ago with International Guitar Night. It was such a cool show, and it was such a treat to be able to see him perform live and to see the respect and the humility that he brought to the instrument, the music, the performance. So cool. Sorry, I'm walking down memory lane here. But let's listen to one more clip. I found a clip of Billy's newest ensemble, I can say, called Lover's Leap. This is the band, and Lover's Leap consists of Mary Lucy on banjo and vocals, Shelly Means on bass and vocals, and Joel Timmons guitar and vocals. And I gotta say, this is just a masterful combination of musicians. Great writing, really cool diversity within the entire album. But here's their song, The Walnut Tree.
We're at the walnut tree. Pretty little bird sing a song for me. She sang out high, sang out low.
focus is on Billy Cardine here, but Mary Lucy's voice is something that is worthy of note as well. Plus her banjo playing. For all of you clawhammer banjo fans out there, that is probably the best camera perspective to see such awesome technique. You can see her right hand, just kind of a master technician again. So that is Lover's Leap. Now, I know the focus was on Billy Cardine, so I'm going to try and reel myself back in here. And we're going to look at a couple of albums that I think you should definitely take a listen to if you have the opportunity. And this follows kind of, I guess, my journey in the discovery of Billy Cardine and all the different albums that he has out there. This is just a few. By no means are these, this isn't a best of list. This is just the ones that have had an impact on me. The first is Organically Grown. And this is a solo album and one that I first heard. This is where I first heard Billy. At the time, it might have even been on MySpace when I heard it, but I think you can listen to it on Bandcamp now. Funny story on this album cover. You'll see it's a slide bar on a piece of koa, which I believe is the back of his Resonator guitar. But around the slide bar, there is a rubber band, and it says Organically Grown with some sort of UPC number. That topic actually came up in the workshop I attended, and apparently that is the rubber band that goes around organic broccoli. And he used that to help keep a good grip on a slide. So I guess there's a little playing tip for you as well, in case all you slide players are having a hard time getting a grip on your slide. The next album you should take a look at is Six String Swing. Now, if you ever thought to yourself, man, gypsy jazz or swing jazz, that just simply can't be played on a Resonator guitar. This album definitely proves you wrong. This album is a complete treat to listen to. Billy is so tasteful in his adaptations of these songs, and wow, it's just mind-blowing. The next album, these next two actually come from the Biscuit Burners, two of my favorite albums. First is A Mountain Apart, and that's where that Ridgeway Backroads song, if you like that, that's where that song is on. And then their follow-up album to that, Take Me Home, which also features a fantastic song. Sujan Ray is the song that I really dig off of that album. And then lastly, that new project, Lover's Leap, their self-titled album. I listened to that. Again, Whitney and I listened to that over dinner. Great album to just really sink into. A fantastic album. Now, to learn more about Billy Cardine and all of his awesome projects, please visit acousticlife.tv/AT154. This is where you'll be able to learn more about Billy, see those performances in full, and of course, get links to those albums as well. All right, well, we're almost done with the episode today, but we do have to revisit your Guitar Geek trivia question, and I have to deliver to you the answer. But as a quick reminder, your question involved the Resophonic mandolin. Yes, the oddity, the almost Frankenstein instrument of sorts. And here was your question. Who is responsible for making the first Resophonic mandolin? Was it Orville Gibson, Herman Weissenborn, Oscar Schmidt, or John Dopiera? Well, if you answered D, John Dopiera, you're correct. The Resonator mandolin was developed by John Dopiera. John had sought to produce a guitar that would have sufficient volume to be heard alongside brass and reed instruments. In 1927, Dopiera and George D. Beauchamp formed the National String Instrument Corporation to manufacture Resonator guitars under the brand name National, adding tenor guitars, Resonator mandolins, and Resonator ukuleles to their product line within a year. Pretty fantastic stuff. Now, the whole Resonator instrument kind of origination story is full of interesting detours and things like that, so I strongly recommend digging into that if you want to learn more about it. All right. That does indeed bring the show to a conclusion, but we should take a quick sneak peek into next week to see what's going to happen next week on Acoustic Tuesday. Well, next week, we're going to keep this Reso train rolling. Yes, indeed, next week, you may even become a Resonator renegade. Check this out. I'll share with you the top 6 Resonators under $1,000. Disclaimer. Next week's episode of Acoustic Tuesday may very well cause Guitarsenals to grow worldwide. I just want you to know that before going into that episode, because after you watch the episode, you're going to think, I'm pretty sure I need a Resonator guitar. Or you're going to think, I'm pretty sure I need an additional Resonator guitar. Yes, indeed, that's all happening next week on Acoustic Tuesday. I'm also going to actually teach you a little bit about Resonators because you'll likely be shopping after you watch the show. Make sure to tune in next week on Acoustic Tuesday. You can catch Acoustic Tuesday every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time here on YouTube. And of course, for your Acoustic Tuesday fix in between Tuesdays, please visit acousticlife.tv, where you can do a deep dive on anything I've ever featured. Thank you so much for being a Guitar Geek. Thank you for watching the show today. And remember, Guitar Geeks unite. I'll see you next Tuesday.